Yo, what is good YouTube? Matty Dubs here, back with another video, guys, and we have some more breaking news, notes, highlights, observations from not only the Cleveland Browns, but also the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to be breaking down some of the guys who looked very good in day 2 of joint practices with the Eagles and the Browns, as well as some people who may be, not be playing as good so far in camp, but also, more importantly, I'm going to be telling you what to expect to see in their preseason game in the next couple of days. We are ramping up towards the second week of preseason, and this is where, jobs are won and lost, careers are won and lost. These are crucial times for a lot of the younger guys on the roster to really showcase themselves and make some noise. So it's going to start getting really entertaining, really intriguing for some of these young guys. But I'm going to be covering all of that in this video. However, before we jump in, do me a big favor, guys, and just smash that like button just so we can get the video out to more Browns and Eagles fans around the world. But also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the entirety of the offseason, signings, trades, preseason, regular season, training camp, everything you can think of. I've got you guys covered, as well as I'm going to be streaming games. So even this Thursday when the Eagles take on the Browns, I think it is Thursday, I might be live for that game, racking some of the young guys' play. So if you want to watch that with me, make sure you guys join the family. But without any further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, I do want to start off with Cleveland side of the ball, strictly because last video I didn't really cover too much about how they didn't practice. So I want to start off by going and talking a little bit about them. Now, we did already hear that the Browns plan on starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson on Thursday night versus the Eagles and allowing Kellen Mond to, come off the bench and play the entirety of the second half, which means Deshaun Watson, Joshua Dobbs will not be playing. I feel like their jobs on this roster are pretty much cemented in at this point, which is a good sign for them individually. But this is a time for Dorian Thompson-Robinson to showcase once again why he deserves a spot on the roster, and if not, a spot in the NFL in general. So I do think this is going to be a fun game to see him and see how he does. But in terms of the injury report, there were some guys that were available. Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward leaving practice on Monday, but they were available. Jack Conklin was out. Who else? James Hudson was filling in at right tackle. That was something I took note of. He was being or playing as the starting right tackle in his place. And then we also had Matthew Adams return to practice. Harrison Bryant was still not available. So we got some good things. Elijah Moore is also back in action today. So that was another thing I took note of. And we know how good Elijah Moore has been through camp. And again, versus the Eagles in this joint practice, again, he had a couple of big-time plays. In individual drills, he made some crazy catches. So that was honestly very exciting to see. And then another guy who's been looking absolutely incredible throughout camp, and not only throughout the entirety of camp, but throughout these practices, is David Njoku. I mean, he just seems so tough to defend, and there are just times where he's going down the center of the field on like a seam route, and the defense just can't keep up with him, or they're flagging him, or they're just doing something that you just can't be doing, and the flag comes out. And he's just been someone who's just been really tough to defend throughout all of training camp so far, and I think he's going to have a incredible season this year. I mean, it just looks like Deshaun Watson is looking for him early and often throughout camp, and I'm excited to see how he starts to get going here over the next couple of weeks into the start of the season. We also saw a little bit of Demetric Felton as well. I think Demetric Felton was a guy who has been getting more work with Jerome Ford being out, and Felton actually had a pretty good game 1 in terms of preseason. A guy who can really catch the football, can really be used as a scat back, but also can be used as a slot wide receiver at times. So I think Demetric Felton, although a lot of Browns fans don't relatively love his action or his play, I think he's a guy who can really make a difference if there's some injuries. We also saw a little bit of Austin Watkins, the wide receiver they brought in very late into camp, or not very late, but pretty late into camp. He's been balling, dude. I don't know where he came from or what is going on, but Austin Watkins is a guy you need to keep your eye on for, because I think he caught a touchdown the first preseason game. He's just been electric throughout camp so far, and I would not be surprised at all if he ends up making this team in a couple of weeks from now. Amari Cooper definitely had a better day. I think day 1 he struggled to catch the ball, but he definitely looked better today. Deshaun Watson is creating some issues for the Eagles, but the Eagles also made some big time plays as well. Now let's get to what we saw from the Eagles. AJ Brown was tremendous. Although the Browns did have some good plays against him, for the most part, AJ Brown was just a problem. He toasted Lorenzo Burns on press coverage, and it was a dart TD or touchdown pass, and then Dallas Goedert also had a touchdown the play before that. So the Eagles offense still looks very high powered. It still looks very good, and obviously we're probably not going to see most of the starters in game 2 of the preseason, but man, we can tell one thing throughout practice: this is a team that did not really lose a step at all. They did lose a lot of players, but they still look insanely good. Another guy who looked good for the Eagles, Greg Ward, man. Greg Ward made a phenomenal touchdown catch through 7-on-7s. I believe it was 7-on-7s. He had a nice touchdown catch, so that was interesting. We saw Sua, I think his name is Opeta. I think he was getting some starting reps in the offensive line with Landon Dickerson out at injury. So yeah, he was filling in at left guard a little bit. We saw Kenny Gainwell get the first snaps at running back in 11-on-11s, which is interesting because when you look at the Eagles running back room right now, you got DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, you got Trey Sermon. All of those guys they really do like, and I would not be surprised if you saw all 3, 4, even 5 of them get some playing time through the season. Obviously, I don't think they're going to keep 5 running backs. I think Trey Sermon might get cut, but man, they got a lot of players over here, a lot of running backs that are just showing out so far. The Eagles did get some interceptions on Watson. Although Watson, like I said, Watson is having a good camp so far, and it's not like he's having a terrible camp. But the Eagles are just a good defense, man. They're getting some interceptions. They're getting to the quarterback, creating some pressure. Reed Blankenship is a guy who has just been amazing. I think he intercepted a pass from Deshaun Watson. I believe Reed Blankenship might have 3 interceptions in just these last 2 practices. So he's a guy that's really stepping up. We're seeing a little bit of a position switch for James Bradbury. A very, he's getting up there in age, so they want to kind of, move him into the slot a little bit. They're moving him outside, inside, sometimes even playing a little bit safety. He's not going to be a safety, but he's moving him in a lot of different ways. So yeah, I think yesterday they gave him some reps at the slot cornerback role, which is something that's very interesting, intriguing in my opinion. I think they are so versatile, they have so many guys who can just interchange different positions. So I'm excited to see how that works out through the rest of the season. Kevon Wallace is starting to come on as a hitter. He's really revamped his game a little bit. I think that's something we've noticed. And then the last thing I really want to talk about here is, and we kind of already brought him up, but Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon has looked incredible throughout camp so far, and he's just only getting better and better. He had a huge TD run in the middle of the field, just darted through the defense and got a nice little touchdown. So I don't really know what the Eagles are going to do. You got Trey Sermon, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below, which one of these guys do you guys think will be the starters? Who do you guys think will get cut? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hit the like button. I think a pretty good day for both these teams. I guess we'll just have to wait and see a Thursday what happens, who plays well, who doesn't play well. But give me a player you guys think can absolutely break out for each of these teams next season. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.